see the fog rolled in this morning. Over the last 10 minutes, actually. The fog out here can come on really fast and can be quite dangerous if you're out on the water when it happens, or if you have to travel on a day like this. We have a GPS system on the boat that if you're out on the water like this, it's a pretty handy tool to have because it's very easy to get lost. And there are a lot of obstacles. This will pass probably in the next hour. It's supposed to be a nice bright sunny day today, so I like the fog when I don't have to go anywhere. Happy Friday, Flosstube. Hello, crafty friends. How's everybody doing today? It is Friday, September 25th. How did that happen? End of the month. Closing in on the end of the month. And I was in my pajamas today. Today I'm hosting a little informal pajama along over on the Friday Off the Grid Facebook group. Also, I have invited all of the members of the Stitch North Facebook group, who many of you we were supposed to be together this weekend at a cross stitch retreat in Brampton, Ontario, which is not able to take place at this time. And so I thought it might be fun just to have a weekend where we just relaxed and crafted all the things, made all the things, drank all the coffee, and kept it casual this weekend, and shared our progress on the Facebook group if you felt like it. I realized that after I had created the event, I had put the start time as when I posted it, and I didn't put an end time, and so it sort of, I think it self-ended the event. So if you have any trouble finding the event, you want to join it, it should still appear in the Facebook group, Friday Off the Grid, and then there's a place in that event where you can post photos and see what everybody else is doing and all that good stuff. So yes, I had to put proper outdoor clothes, regular clothes. I had to put clothes on because I need to take Luna for a walk, and I'm stopping in at my father-in-law's cottage for a coffee on my way by because John is not here. So I'm just stopping in for a bit of company and see how he's doing. He put his back out yesterday, and he tends to have a bit of a bad back, but he also tends to do things that maybe he should be waiting until he has some help to do certain things. But you know, many of us like to do what we like to do, and we maybe are a little bit more stubborn than we should be. So anyways, he says he's feeling a little better today, so I'm going to stop over and make sure that he's doing okay. And he says that he has something for his own supper tonight, so we're gonna do our own things tonight, and I'll stop and have a little coffee and chat with him. And I didn't think that I should show up in my pajamas, so I'm dressed. But when I get back, those pajamas are going back on. I am currently knitting on my Fruity Pebbles sock. This is my August 2019 Sock of the Month Club from Leo and Roxy, and I am really close to the heel. So my goal for this was to get to the heel, add the yarn for the heel. I'm ready to go. I have I've balled up the mini skein of gray. It's such a beautiful gray. Look at this color. It is just the perfect gray. I love this color. And that's going to be the heel and toe for my sock. It's like a Big bowl of Fruity Pebbles. Love it. And while I'm on the topic of Leo and Roxy, I've shown you my Kitchener Stitch key tag before. So last year I signed up for 6 months of the Sock of the Month Club, and each month came with a little special extra along with the skein of sock yarn. So one month was the Kitchener Stitch keychain, which is always useful. Oh, come on. There we go. Always useful thing to have in your bag of goodies. And then another month was this really, really useful wooden laser cut needle gauge. And so what a needle gauge is if you can't remember what size needle you're working on, you just have to put it into the hole, the corresponding hole, and you can actually figure out what size your needle is. And the reason I've got this here is because I had a question a few days back from my friend Sylvia Perez Hardy, who was the mastermind genius organizer behind the Stitch North Smalls Exchange. And she wanted to know what size needle I was using for Sarah's Afghan. And I said, I can't remember. It's big. I knit a lot of socks, and so when I go back to working on Sarah's Afghan, the needles always feel really, really huge. So they feel a bit like broomsticks, but they're not really that big. I have quite a loose gauge when I knit, so my needles tend to be more on the smaller side than others. However, these I think are fairly normal. So all you do is you just find the hole that fits, and then the one that's too small. So my needles for Sarah's Afghan are a 5mm, which is a US 8. Needles are numbered differently in the States as opposed to the UK and Canada. I believe the UK is, we're the same as European sizes. Canada is the same as European sizes. So we are, my knitting needles are a 5mm, which is a US 8. This needle is a very, very lovely ChowGoo interchangeable tips. Now, I don't have a set of them. I bought the cord and the needle tips separately because I figured the next time that I wanted to make another Afghan, if it would need different size tips, then the cord would be still usable and I would just buy the size tips that I needed. ChowGoo cords, the cord that is supporting the knitting, they're really nice cords. They're very flexible. They feel nice in the hand. The join between the, so you can see the, oh no, actually I need a little tool to, they're on nice and tight. So there's a little screw thing that you can stick in and it'll help you unscrew them. But the join is really smooth between the cable and the needle. It's very, very smooth join. So I find that they're very, it's a very nice needle to knit with. Anyways, so Sylvia, US 8, 5mm, that's the size. Sarah's Afghan, I have not put a single stitch in it since a couple of days ago when I shared it with you, and it lives in one of my jumbo project bags. Okay, so, whoops. I'm surrounded by stuff here today. Okay, so just a few more rounds to go, and then I'm going to put that heel in. I'm going to start the heel, and then I'm going to cast on my new biscuit sock with the new yarn. But I'll tell you about that tomorrow if I manage to cast it on before I record tomorrow. Okay, stitching. I stayed up, you know, I was chatting with Ellen Reed, Maximum Cross Stitch Power Hour, the genius behind showing us the coverlet yesterday that Jakob de Graaf turned into a beautiful pattern. Ellen is going to do a stitch along with that chart, so if you purchased it yesterday or if you feel like purchasing it in the days to come and you'd like to join in, remember that 25% of the proceeds of that chart are directly donated to the Red Door, which is a wonderful charity in Toronto, Ontario. And It is the Zimmerman coverlet, and it's a Canadian heirloom cross-stitch rendition. Cross-stitch rendition of a Canadian heirloom, and it is marvelous. I think I waxed poetic enough about it yesterday, but you know, as soon as I can get some fabric, I will be joining in the stitch along whenever Ellen decides. Whenever Ellen tells me that there's going to be a stitch along, if I have the fabric in my hands, I'll be starting it. And if I don't, I'll jump in as soon as I can. So we were chatting last night, and I was, you know, getting that usual tired feeling, and I thought I was done for the evening, and so I told her, I said, look, I think I've only got about 10 stitches left in me, and then I'm gonna go to bed. And then John messaged me about something, and I had to go and look up something for him on his computer, and it was just one of those things, you know, like what it happens, and it sort of wakes you up a little bit, and I sort of got a second wind. So I made some more coffee, and I stayed up really late, and I stitched, and it was awesome. So no regrets, no regrets. And I did a fair bit. I know it doesn't look like I did a fair bit, but trust me, I really did. This was probably an extra 2 hours of stitching. Now, keep in mind, stitching means checking Instagram, checking Facebook, stitch, 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 listen to my audiobook, check Facebook, stitch, 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 stitch. So I had a thoroughly enjoyable evening, and it's coming along. I finished the border. I have finished all of the side flowers now, and all of the leaves and all of the little flowers in the middle. Those are all done. The stem is done. I have a little bit more of that dark forest green to do in the middle there. One more big flower up top, one more bird. There's a matching vine up here. I've got the vine to do, and then I have the first part of the quote to stitch at the top, and then it's done. I foresee a finish this weekend. I'm definitely going to finish it this weekend. So this is the Martin Luther King sampler by Stone Street Stitchworks. All of the details on this project will be in the drop-down box below. Love it. Okay, and then since I'm really on a finishing streak, I think it was good that I worked so diligently on the Smalls exchange for Kimberly, finishing that design that I finished for her. And you know, it got me into that sort of frame of mind of oh, finishing things is pretty cool. But if you're going to finish things, they better be smaller things, not the big massive things that I tend to gravitate towards. So the next thing on my finish it up list, and I've shown this one before, this is my Ink Circles Damask Square. And this chart is so pretty. It is so beautiful, this chart. And I am stitching it on a pre-finished linen fabric square. I believe the company that put this out is called Ubelor. I think they're a European company. I don't know a lot about them, and I know the last time I discussed this, I had some people answer me in the comments, and because it's not something I discuss a lot or know a lot about, I'm afraid I have forgotten again. So pretty sure it's Ubelor, and it's a pre-finished fabric square, and here's mine. Forgive the fold line. It needs a good iron. I was intending this for a friend, a gift for a friend, and now I'm thinking it's not quite right. It's not quite the right gift for this particular person. This is one of those things, this is one of those times where I have stitched something that I love, thinking that someone else would love it, but it's not really her taste. You know what I mean? Because the more I get to know her and her taste, I don't think it's quite right. So I have a couple other things in mind for this particular friend, and I'm not going to say anything because she does watch, and I don't want to give away. I want it to be a surprise when it finally, eventually 3-5 years from now, ends up in her mailbox. So it'll be a brand new surprise by then. She'll never know. So this is my version, and of course it is not white, it is blue, and I am using I think this is a 32 count, this pre-finished square. It's either a 28 or a 32, I'm not quite sure, and I didn't measure it. And the floss that I'm using is this Dinky Dyes Pacific Ocean. So there, isn't it? It's just absolutely gorgeous, this color. So it is color number 93, and I had 3 skeins of it, so I thought it was the perfect perfect floss from my stash to use for this chart back when I started it. So Pacific Ocean 93. So love it. Love it. And you know, it's more than half done. So it, you know, once I get after it, I also think that I don't know. This is one of those tricky ones that it's hard. Like, I'm often asked when I show this, why is it backwards in your Q-snap? Why do you have it backwards? It's personal preference. This is called stitching in the ditch, where the back of the fabric is flush against the side of the snap, so that it's personal preference. I find this easier to end my threads with the needle. I can stitch much, much closer to the sides of the snap itself. And also you're not really touching the front of your fabric with your hands, so it keeps it a little bit cleaner. But this doesn't fit all that well in this snap, and I don't like using hoops. So you know what I do have? I have some handy clamp on my, what did I put on it? Oh, my Colors of Venice is on a handy clamp right now. And the clamps snap right onto the rod. Now, it's a bit overkill because the rods are quite long and this is not long at all. But it would allow me to use my lap frame, which is quite good. Luna has, I think she's a bit sensitive to the juniper bushes that are outside. And sometimes after we've come in from being outside, she starts to lick her paws quite a lot. I think maybe she's allergic to everything, this dog. Seriously, everything. But anyway, so if you hear licky noises, it's the dog. She's right under the table. So I think that's actually a really good idea. So see, chatting with you has helped me solve a little problem that I had sort of had at the back of my mind all along, how I was going to work that. The other thing that is kind of playing around in my mind that I really would like to finish, because it's so tiny, is the stitching that I started for the last high tea that was back July 1st. And that was this really adorable sweetheart tree bee skep, this teeny tiny little bee skep. Oh, there. Isn't it? It's adorable. It is so sweet and so small. Surely I could finish it before the next high tea, because all I have is the bee skep. And a few little stitches aside from there. So this is what I'm thinking is how I'd like to spend my jammy along weekend, including my Glendon Place Hope and Strength stitch along. I really want to put some serious work into the border, those cream stitches that are in the middle of that border. I'd like to get to that, but this is so cute and little, itty bitty. And you know, the next high tea is right around the corner. So it'd be really nice if this one was, if not finished, well, maybe mostly finished. I don't know. My plans are big, folks. I have big plans. Because you know what else is in here? Let me show you what else. This is my Christmas project bag. And I have, now this was really optimistic thinking that I brought this along with me, but I just couldn't help it. This was the fabric that I was thinking might work for the Zimmerman coverlet. It's a beautiful piece of white linen. It was another piece that I got in a swap that I did with Erin, and it is white 40 count linen is one of my favorites. It just looks, everything looks good on it. And I thought, oh, that would be perfect for the Zimmermann coverlet, but it's not big enough because this is a square piece and it is perfect for the Lena cross stitch design that I have already purchased and downloaded in PDF. So I'm all ready to go with that. And remember I told you I brought along my this is the Mrs. Sadis. Oh, look at that color. Look at that color. I mean, this color makes my heart skip a beat. Literally. It I just can't. I just love it so much. So Mrs. Sadis is dyeing silk yarn, excuse me. I'm so discombobulated by this color, I can barely talk. She is in Spain. She is from Spain, and I ordered this, and I have to say that the wait time at the time when I ordered this, the delivery time was quite decent, considering that it came all the way from Spain to Canada. Now, I did mention that I love the scent, but I did have a couple people mention that they found it a little strong. It does smell, maybe someone said baby powder. I don't know. I don't smell baby powder. I enjoy the scent, but it is noticeable. So if you are sensitive to smells and scents, that may bother you. But look at that color. So I am going to be stitching that Lena cross stitch design with this color. I have a hank of Silks for You blue that I bought 2 years ago, along with, do you remember the raspberry silk that I got from Silks for You that I started, the Friendship Quaker, the Dying to Stitch one? What is the name of that? It's the designers from Dying to Stitch. Crown and Thistle, is that right? But it's the Quaker Seasons of Friendship that Letitia sent the pattern to me, and she's stitching it as well. And I'm using the Raspberry Silks for You silk on that chart, on that pattern, because it was a high tea start, my last high tea start, because I have been hoarding that silk floss. And this blue silk I bought at the same time. So it's been in my stash for at least 2 years now. And I think it's the perfect blue for the Zimmermann coverlet. I just need to find the fabric. And I know I have it. I know I have fabric at home in my drawer. I know it. I just know it. It's just not here. So we'll see if I can send Sarah on a scavenger hunt this weekend and send it back with her dad. We'll see. Okay, so that's going back. That's going back. A dream for another day. However, I do have my little sweetheart tree is, multiple projects go in the same bag. It's just a lot easier to keep track of everything. And I have to make sure I don't lose the little beads. The beads that go with that bee skep. They're so cute. Okay. Oh, this last thing is just silly, but humor me. I was having a snack earlier today, and because we've been talking about funny favorite things, it made me think of you while I was eating my snack. And so I saved the bag. Crinkle, crinkle, crinkle. I didn't eat the whole bag, okay? This bag was already open and I had a serving, so don't judge me. Ketchup flavored snacks. That's just a Canada thing, right? I think. We have like ketchup chips. They're so good. They are so good. But I kind of gave up chips back when I had all that gallbladder problem, and I haven't reintroduced them yet. And frankly, I'm kind of trying to not reintroduce a whole lot of stuff just yet. But Crispy Minis, they're the little baby rice cakes. They have a ketchup flavor, and they're a pretty darn good substitute for ketchup chips, because I love ketchup chips. But the ketchup Crispy Minis are pretty awesome. But do you have these in the States? Or is this just a weirdo Canadian thing? Because it must have been at least 6 months ago. I got this picture. Gerald Ginger Gerald, he has put out a video recently. In case you have been missing him, he did very recently put out a video. So if you want to pop over and visit him, or if you don't know who I'm talking about, very good friend of mine, Ginger Gerald. He lives in New Jersey. He's one of my favorite people in the whole wide world. And he, we talk regularly. He sent me a picture and he said, "What is this?" And it was a picture of a bag of chips, and it was the all dressed flavor. And in the corner it said, "Canada's favorite." Canada's favorite chip. And he lives in New Jersey, and this was a bag of chips in a store in New Jersey, and it was the flavor all dressed. And he'd never heard of all dressed chips before. And I said, "Well, that's a bag of deliciousness right there. Lucky you." And so he did buy a bag and he took them home. And I think he was sadly underwhelmed by the all dressed chips. But all dressed and ketchup chips. Yeah, ketchup chips. So is that just a weird Canadian thing? I'm pretty sure it is, but let me know. They're delicious. All right, on that strange note, I am going to go walk the dog, have a coffee with my father-in-law, and then I'm going to get back, put the coffee on, put my pajamas back on, and I'm going to get started with my jammy along. I am going to make all the things tonight, all night long. I have some work to do tomorrow, and but I'm going to be wearing a different pair of pajamas tomorrow that will be equally as comfortable, and I will also try and get a short video up tomorrow as well. I hope you're well. I hope you're safe and that you're able to enjoy a little bit of crafting time for yourself this weekend. Take care, everybody, and I'll check in tomorrow. Happy stitching.